Well, that moment was a moment where my long life dream suddenly turned into a nightmare. We were four friends, three friends and a guide that I met on the road in the streets of La Paz. My childhood dream was to explore the unknown, to go deep into the uncharted. But my dream was really to find a tribe of indigenous peoples that never saw civilization before. I wanted to penetrate that village, become a member of the tribe, marry the daughter of the chief, and find a treasure of gold or some treasure of the Inca, and then come back to civilization, get famous, rich. And suddenly, here I was, alone, bare to the bone. I lost everything. I lost my friends. I lost all my equipment. In the skin of my teeth, I managed to pull myself out of the river after almost drowning. There I was under the mighty cliffs, crushed completely. No knife, no gun, no food, no fire, and foreign lands, mighty mountains, cliff, rivers gushing, huge trees swaying in the wind. The hubris, the vanity, I was crushed. This was the dark night of my soul. Sometimes I think that place, that dark night of the soul, is the best place that you can reach. There's an English term for it, it's called the nadir, the lowest point you can possibly reach. It's a good place to be. Because if you reached all the way down, first good news is from here on, you're just going up. But secondly, I discovered in that place of total surrender, when you realize you're totally nothing, when you realize there's nothing you can do to help yourself, when you lost everything, first of all, you realize if you lost it all, it wasn't yours to begin with. What's yours? It's what you're about to discover now. What remains after everything was lost. We cling so much to what we have. We cling so much to the social perception, to the social mask that we carry. What if everything is stripped from you totally? Alone. The first few days, I'm running on the cliffs, hoping maybe one of my friends have survived. But after 4 days of searching, I realize there's nobody here. Then I turned downriver. There is no map. This is deep in the uncharted. The only thing I can do is follow the river. I go down from the cliffs and I cling to the river. Walking, it's my 5th day of total solitude. And another thing, 5th day of total starvation. I ate nothing, absolutely nothing for 5 days. I only drank water. As I walk, from afar, suddenly I see a fruit. And I don't believe it. And I pick it up, and the fruit is ripe, and it's plump, and there's no blemish, there's no worms, there's no rot. Without hesitating, I put the fruit in my mouth, and as I put it in my mouth, it seems to explode. 5 days, no food, that rush of sugar to the brain, I'm intoxicated. And within that intoxication, there's a command suddenly resonating in my head, big, and it says, get more of that. I hear that command in my head, and I look up. And as I look up, I see well, until that moment, I felt the greatest victim on the planet. There was nobody more miserable and more helpless than me. And then a minute later, As I stand under the tree and I see the fruits above, and I know this snake is deadly, what do? They say there's two things in life that motivate you: your fear and your love. I'll tell you, my biggest motivator is first of all fear, because fear can be your best friend. Wherever fear rises, that's the best guide. I'm saying that, and it's not easy to stand on stage and say something like that, but I tell you, wherever fear rises in my life, that's where I go. I don't turn my back to fear. I go towards my fear. If you turn your back to fear, it will chase you. You will have no life. You run, and like a shadow, it will chase you. But will you dare to chase your fear? Will you dare to walk towards it? Once I killed that snake, I was never a victim in my life ever again. I was never a victim again. I realized that the snakes in your lives, the rainforest, the trouble, the adversity, you cannot avoid. No matter who you are, no matter how rich, famous, smart, powerful, adversity will come and find you no matter what. That's not a choice. But the choice is to be a victim or not. And I'll tell you what's the difference. There's two. The opposite of victim is responsible. You're either a victim or you're responsible. Defined convention for me is being responsible in an extreme way. You think about a situation, no matter what, you can always be responsible because the word itself gives it. Responsible means you're able to respond. No matter what circumstances in life, if you are able to respond, you're not a victim. Once I killed that snake, I realized I never been so at peace in my life. I never belonged so much as I belonged there. For the first time in my life, I was finally the hero I aspired to be. From that moment on, the rainforest became my home. I wasn't an alien anymore. For the next 10 days, I walked in this forest. And it's not simple to walk in the forest in the midst of the rainy season without any weapon, without any fire to protect myself, without any food. For 10 days, I learned how to deal with the elements. And then after 10 days, it was 15 days that I was alone in the forest. For 15 days. I made a mistake, so inexperienced. A huge storm came, and it was the mother of all storms. And huge trees were falling down. And I tried to make a shelter between the roots of a tree. The tree was moving and swaying and screeching. In a moment like that, even if you're the biggest atheist, believe me, you discover God, because the only thing you can do is scream, "God, please help me." And God helped me because the flood came at dawn. And that was a miracle. If the flood would have come at night, I would have been dead. But at dawn, a huge flood came, and the river just washed the jungle and caught me in it. I fought, swimming between the trees, jumping on a tree, pulling my body to the tree with my bare foot, pushing away to the next tree. And then I climbed on a hill, crawling. My feet were destroyed. There was no skin left on my feet. There was pus and blood and tore flesh. My only possession, my shoes, were tied around my neck for the night. Then I rested on the hills for 2 days. And after 2 days, I started crawling. When the flood receded, I started crawling to find the river, because without the river, I was truly lost. My feet wouldn't carry me, so I was crawling on my knees and elbows, when suddenly I heard a noise. I stopped and listened. It was an airplane, and I knew that moment that this airplane is coming for me. That surge of hope that shot through my chest. I got up on my feet and running and screaming, trying to find some gap between the trees, but deep under the canopies there were no gaps. And when the airplane came, I saw it for a split second. Between the branches, I saw it, I in the clouds, oblivious to my misery, to my agony, leaving me behind. Hope was the worst thing that could happen to me. What broke me down was hope. I collapsed on my knees. I burst into tears. And at that moment, something snapped inside my chest. At that moment, I fell with my face into the mud, and I started praying from the deepest place in my heart. I prayed, "Please, Just let me die. I gave up on my life. At that moment, where I couldn't help myself, something unbelievable happened.
No, don't run. Please, don't run. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. Please don't run away. It's fine. It's fine. My name is Yossi. I am lost. Do you speak English? No, of course you don't. I know you can't understand me, but it's good to see you.
In my darkest moment, in the moment where I gave up, something happened. And I found love in the middle of the forest, lost. I found a woman, and I knew she was my woman. I don't know how she appeared there. As I said, there's two things that will motivate one in life, either fear or love. And I tell you that I think that love is a greater fear than fear itself. It is. And the greatest fear is to believe that it's us, that we are lovable. That's the greatest fear. But when we love another, when we truly love another, then true power is revealed. In a moment where I couldn't help myself anymore, where I was helpless, when I wanted to die, what saved my life was somebody I loved. Somebody that didn't come to help me, but somebody that needed my care, somebody that needed my love, somebody that needed my help. That's the most powerful thing in the world, is the power of love. Do you dare to follow your love? For 2 days I took care of her. And after 2 days, when I made her a place next to me to sleep, when I covered her with palm fronds, and when I called her to hug me, I realized there was nobody there. There was nobody there. I was so scared. I didn't know if I lost my mind, but I swear, I didn't make it up. It wasn't my imagination. It wasn't contrived. She just appeared. And after 2 days, she disappeared, but I know she saved my life. Alone again. The next day, my 19th day, after the flood, the floor of the jungle was completely washed, so there was no food. I was scavenging before some berries, a fruit that fell from a tree, or a nest with raw eggs. But after the flood, there was nothing. By the 19th day, I was just skin, hanging on nothing, just skin and bones, no muscle, no flesh, just skin and bone. And then I fell into a swamp. And for 6 hours, I was swimming in heavy mud. I was sure I'm going to die. I wanted to kill myself if I could, but the only thing that prevented me from killing myself, it was the 19th day. I said I should have killed myself on the first day. After 19 days of that much suffering, no way. So I fought, and I fought, and I fought, and I swam inch by inch until I managed to get out of the swamp. Once out of the swamp, I realized I cannot get on my feet. I was exhausted, my feet would not carry me anymore. Under the canopy, I collapsed, and I knew death will become me, because under the canopy, no airplane passing in the sky can see me. If there is a chance to save my life, at least I should collapse on an open space by the river, not under the canopy, but I couldn't get on my feet. From the corner of my eye, suddenly I saw a movement. I looked to the side and I saw what was moving. An entire tree seemed to be moving. It was moving because it was covered with fire ants. The fire ants live symbiotically with this tree. I recognized the tree. I saw the fire ants, and I knew very well what a fire ant can do to you. It's like extinguishing a cigarette on your skin, like a blazing rod. That's how poisonous they are. I crawled to the tree. And when I reached the tree, I raised myself against the tree, and I shook the tree, and I shook the tree until I covered myself from head to toe. I showered myself completely with fire ants, and my entire body was like a human torch. I was on flames. I was in so much pain, I was screaming. And on these waves of pain, I was floating. I couldn't feel my feet anymore. There was so much pain that my feet, there was no sensation at all. I was running on waves of pain. Pain saved my life. Isn't it defying convention where all our life what we try to do is to avoid pain? How futile it is to avoid pain. Pain will come anyway. When it comes, better embrace it, because if you avoid it, it becomes just greater. Pain saved my life. I got to the shore of the river, and I was lying there, and I realized I'm not going to move anymore. I realized I have to push myself up from the shore into the forest, because right there another flood can come and take me. But before I leave the shore, I made an effort to make a mark. So I created my initial, rolling logs, I created my initial Y. So if an airplane passes above, they will see it. As I was moving one log, underneath it I discovered a big turtle. For 5 entire days, I haven't eaten anything. I was starved, and this was a big turtle. As I saw the turtle, it flashed inside my head. A rock to the turtle, or the turtle to the rock. I'm going to break it. I'm going to rip its flesh. I'm going to eat it alive. And at that very second, the turtle just pushed its head out of his shield. And in unexplainable second, our eyes connected. And at that connection, I felt something that I will never be able to explain. What I felt is that this turtle is my brother. That's what I felt. So I apologized to it. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. And I left the turtle untouched, and I didn't kill it. Until this very day, I cannot explain why. The night came. It was dusk. And suddenly I heard a noise. I was sure it's a wasp or a bee. So I was trying to get rid of that wasp or bee, but the noise got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then it was so loud that I opened my eyes and I raised my head. And this is what I saw.
Wait. Wait.
It wasn't a wasp. It wasn't a bee, it was a boat that landed. They turned the boat. Kevin, my friend, that the only survivor. The 2 others have died, were never seen again. But Kevin, that was saved by indigenous people, Kevin came back. They stopped there to turn the boat. The search was over. On that very place where they turned the boat, 120 kilometers of river, on that very place where they turned the boat, that's the place where I collapsed. My life was saved, but this is not the end of the story. I went back to the Amazon, and I found a tribe, the people that saved Kevin. I went to their village. I stayed with them. I lived there for 3 entire years. I was initiated as an Uchupiamona I married the daughter, well, I brought her from Jerusalem. That's the truth. But I married the daughter. I married her in a shamanic ceremony. I found my home, I found my tribe, and I found my treasure, the secrets of the forest, the path of love, away from fear. Follow your heart. Thank you so much.